Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to The Camera Adds 10 Pounds. I'm your host, Peter Surs, and I got to do this, guys. I'm sorry, but if you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, do me a favor, leave a review, rate the podcast. It really helps me, and I know you want to help me because you're listening anyway. It takes 2 seconds. And if you want to subscribe, you probably already do that, but just an FYI, it helps. So yeah, do that. And today's guest, I'm very excited to have this person in studio. Guy's on the road all the time. I was just telling him beforehand, like, he's like, how are you? I'm like, I'm just trying to be you. And it's true. This guy's a national headliner. He's got a special out on Amazon right now called Life After Death.
Laugh After Death.
Laugh After Death. Sorry. Shout out to Biggie. Laugh After Death. And you also have a film that is your film on Amazon?
Yeah, it's on Amazon as well.
Bethlehem.
Yeah.
Yep. Self-produced. So you wrote it yourself.
Yeah.
Tours all over the place, been on Comedy Central, Showtime. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for comedian, actor, producer, everything now. Michael Malone.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming in, dude. So, really quick. So we were just talking before the podcast, and I haven't seen him in like 4 years.
Yeah, we were talking. I think Boise, out of all places, I think Boise is the last time we saw each other.
Boise, we worked together. We did this awesome, huge theater. I think that's the biggest amount of people I've done at once ever.
Really?
That show. Yeah.
It was a fun little show, man. It was great. They were a lot of fun. That whole weekend was great.
Yeah,
they did like a little festival there.
I like that. I like the town of Boise.
Yeah, it's a dope little town. It's progressive. You wouldn't think that. It's
You
Boise.
you definitely
it's middle
would
of
not.
nowhere.
Yeah.
But it's beautiful. It's gorgeous. Little like I call it like a postcard town. Like,
Yeah,
it
for
just
sure.
Looks like it's a fucking postcard.
Yeah.
And it's great hiking and all that stuff. But super progressive, super liberal. Would not have guessed that.
I think I feel like I mean you travel you travel more than I do. But don't you feel like college towns are usually a little bit more?
Yeah,
like,
well, of course,
generally.
they have the fountain of youth there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's the towns that you go to where everybody is 60 plus, and they're like, these darn millennials, and you're like, all right, get fucked.
Because Boise State's like right there outside of
Yeah, it was just
the
a couple
downtown
blocks
area.
from us, yeah.
Yeah, I always found, but yeah, I remember also being surprised, like when I first went, like, oh, you guys, there's gay people here, and there's like, there's a gay club here, and it's always surprising to me when I go places. I have like, a bit about like the fact that I like to go to gay clubs when I travel because it's just, for me, I'm just curious to see like what the gay community is like in places where you would think
there is no gay
Yeah,
community.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's always interesting. And it's like, they have it's a fun little town. Like I said, it's pretty, it's outdoorsy, and it's not too far. It's like only like a couple-hour flight.
No, it's pretty hip.
So that was the last time we saw each other. And that was like, I think that was like 4 years ago.
And that tells you how big, too, the city is and how busy people get and all that stuff. Like, we've both lived in Los Angeles the rest of the time, and I have not seen you since.
But you're on the road, like, non-stop.
I tour a lot. I'm trying to not tour so much. I'm trying to stay in town more.
Okay,
but, it's hard. There's nothing really here. I mean, it's, you're performing in front of other comics for, $10.
I made $10 last night. I was stoked.
There you go, yeah. I mean, even when you headline some places, even the clubs here, they give you $25 to headline. You're like, all right, now what? And you're doing 12
I need to do
minutes.
4 shows a night to make like a decent amount of money in one night.
So all the money's back in the Midwest. All the money's on the road. All the people are there. The crowds, they're hungry for it.
Yeah.
Especially in towns like Boise and stuff, where you go into these cities where they only have one club for 3 or 4 hours away. Those are the best times.
I like it.
Yeah.
How many weeks were you on the road this week?
I was doing I was doing 46 weeks a year on the road for about 6 years, and then I've cut it down to about 25 or 30.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's still that's a decent amount.
Still a lot, but it's I'm kind of picking and choosing where I want to go now, and the cities I like to go to, and the venues that I like to go to. I go to Texas once a year for a month solid.
Oh wow!
So I do
all the hyenas.
Yeah, all the hyenas there are great. So I do Plano and Dallas and Fort Worth all back to back.
Okay.
And then there was a joke joint in Houston, which I would just tag on to because I love the joke joint there. And
I would have loved it had they booked me.
Yeah,
I kept going back and forth with Ken. That's his name.
Ken's great. He's a tough cookie, but he's great.
Well, the thing, what like I mean, we can bitch and moan about like all the bookers and whatnot, but like the the one thing I always appreciate about any comedy club booker is that they get back to me.
Yeah.
Because a lot of them don't. Just because they get, thousands of emails and whatnot. And I've talked about it a million times on here. But, like, he would respond, and he was like, okay, yeah, we'll get you, like, give me your credits. And we were just going back and forth, and there was, like, a dialogue. And then he was like, send me a list of clubs. And I'm like, yeah, we did all these things. And then, like, I didn't hear back from him. And then, like, not to, like, be an asshole, but I saw that Stormy Daniels was working that club.
Right, yeah.
And then I was like, come on, dude. Like, did you give her the same runaround that you gave me? Like, I'm just trying, like, I'm not even trying to headline something. Like, I'm just like, just feature me,
Right.
And then he had Stormy Daniels, and then, like, they closed, like, a few weeks later. And I was
well,
like,
and that's, I'm dealing with a lot of that as well. A lot of these comedy clubs are starting to use podcasters or YouTubers or celebrities like Stormy Daniels and stuff like that. Or there's a couple guys, there's a couple twins that go around to the cities. They're terrible. And
like twins, like comedians?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't. They're like YouTube stars.
Okay, not
two black dudes. They're twin brothers.
The Lucas brothers?
Not
the
the
Lucas brothers.
No. Yeah, these
'Cause
guys
those
are
guys are
like
funny.
jacked out of their minds, and they got famous off of YouTube. But they're
interesting.
anyways, they what they're doing now is more of like a meet and greet. A lot of these comedy clubs, they're not actually giving you a show. They're giving you a meet and greet of the person you've been watching on YouTube or listening to on your podcast for years, and now you can see them in person. So it doesn't matter if they're funny or not or whatever. They're selling tickets, which is fine for like if you want to do a 1 or 2 night event. But a lot of these guys are taking weeks away from actual working comics that are out there grinding and
like
trying to make it up.
Yeah, like me.
Yeah, exactly. And then that's when it becomes frustrating when you're like, okay, you're going to book this YouTube guy, but you don't have any room for me on your roster.
Right. It's like, okay.
Cool.
Yeah, it's fine. But like the thing,
the frustrating.
The thing that I appreciated, like I said, about him was that he actually would email me. Like I would I talk about it all the time to people. I'm like, I would rather have a club just be like, you know what? Sorry, like not yet, not ready, then just ignore, because then you just never know. Like,
well, feedback is key too. It's always great when you hear, a booker get back to you and say, "Hey, here's what I liked," and here's, a good booker knows their club, knows their audience, and so sometimes you're just not the right fit, and I get that sometimes still, and I've had that, and where a club will reach out and go, okay, here's our demographic, here's what we're kind of looking at, and it's just not gonna, we don't think you're a right fit or whatever. Okay. Or even when you're coming up and you're sending out tapes, they go, hey, we like this, you're just not ready here and here.
Yeah.
Great. Tell me that
thank
instead of not answering an email or blowing me off or making me fucking email you every month for 3 years.
What do you do? You do every month for places that you're trying to get in?
Yeah, I would do that. Okay. Yeah.
I'm always curious. Like, some people are like, oh, I do it every week. I'm like, fuck.
I have a spreadsheet now. I've advanced my book. Yeah, I have a spreadsheet. That way I can look and be like, man, when was the last time I reached out to Tampa?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, okay, now
Okay. Cool, man.
Yeah, because a lot of times it feels longer than what it actually is.
Right.
You're like, oh man, I haven't heard from them in forever, and you're like, oh, that was 2 weeks ago.
The worst is when very rarely you probably get calls that like, oh hey, like we had a fallout or something. You know what I mean?
Right.
But like, let's say like I'll email El Paso, for example.
Right.
I use that because I literally just emailed him, and then like a day or two later, I'll get a phone call, and it'll be like El Paso area code, and I'm like, oh, cool, and then I answer it, and it's like, do you have health care? I'm like, fuck you, man. Like, how did they know I was expecting a call from El Paso or something? Like, it always happens, and I'm like, whatever, dude. Yeah. I get tired of that. Cause I do it like regionally. So like, this week I'm doing like, okay, I'm emailing all the like, Utah, Nevada, blah, and then I just kind of go across, and then by the time a few weeks have gone by, then I'm back to like, okay, follow up,
Yeah.
And so it's like it's always a timing, and I get these.
Can I ask if you what does your booking email look like? What does it include?
Subject matter.
Let's say you've never reached out to this.
Yeah. Well, okay. So if I'm just reaching out blind, which like I don't have like I hate asking people like, hey, can you refer me? Like,
yeah.
Like if they offer, then I'm like, oh, hey, cool. But like I just hate asking, and I know I should, but I just don't.
Yeah.
So if it's just me, it'll say booking, my name, and then sometimes like I've been doing, because like my calendar is not completely full, but like I'm getting, so like I'll send like if I'm going to be like in the region, like specific dates
Yeah,
that might
yeah,
work,
yeah.
like avails, and then put the hello, I'm my name, I got some credits here, just trying to sell myself. I'd love to come. I always say headline or feature, just because I know that they're probably not going to headline me, but if I ask for it, then they're like, okay, well he's asking a headline, so he must be like at least a feature.
Right, yeah, yeah.
I always feel like they
Yeah, that was gonna be my advice: is just make it as easy as possible for them
Yeah.
to say yes. So include dates,
I like
of
it.
course.
Yeah.
Send a video link if you have it. Even if you've reached out to this person multiple times, always send a video link. Always send dates. Just because bookers get flooded with stuff so much,
Yeah.
and they work with so many fucking people
Yeah.
that that it's hard to keep everybody straight.
Of course.
And so it's nice to just refresh them. Maybe they haven't ever watched your video. Maybe they did 2 years ago or something like that.
Right.
It's good to keep up with that and always have a fresh video too. Or if you have something happen, always include an email. Be like, hey, I was just featured on blah,
Right.
blah, blah.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'd love to come in and this and that. Always make it as easy as fucking possible for
I
them
like
to say
it. Yeah,
yes.
that's what I've learned over. And like I said,
Yeah.
that's just blind. If
Some
I have a
people just
referral,
email bookers and just be like, I'd love to play your club. Here, I've been on Comedy Central. And you're like,
right?
when?
Yeah. Right.
Like, when would you like
I'll
to come here?
I'll
What are
follow
you
up with
doing?
like like I'll send them dates, and then it's like
Yeah.
if you've already booked out through there, like I can send avails for this. I just I don't want to send them like a whole calendar of like.
Oh, I sent them the whole fucking year.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
see.
because sometimes they'll write back and they're like, we're not booking that yet. And you
Okay.
go, okay. Well,
Right.
Fucking,
Okay.
here it is.
I like it. I have learned though that like if you can put someone's name in the subject, like referred by so and so.
Oh, yeah.
That helps.
Yeah.
Way
Yeah,
more
if you have a
than-
reference, you can reference a bunch of people that already work the club or something like that. Or if you can say, hey, fucking Ben Glebe was just there and he's a good friend of mine. He was talking about how great your club was.
Right.
Like, would love to come in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whatever.
Totally.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about this because I love that you well, first of all, I love that you made your film. I think like when we first met, you had just done your film.
Yeah.
So that's like 4 years ago, and like
Yeah.
you financed everything, right?
Yeah, it's
you,
all self-produced. Co-wrote it, directed it, acted in it.
Yeah.
yeah, I did
Yeah.
everything. Yeah,
And but that's like we talk about that all the time, where it's like we talk about fitness on here too, obviously because I'm super into that. But like not waiting for stuff, just like doing it.
yeah,
Like you could have been the person that's like, oh, I have the script and no one will take a meeting, and you're just like, fucking, I'm just gonna make my movie.
yeah. That's the I've and that's what I did with my special as well. I've just
Right.
I'm such a DIY guy, anyways. I believe in that instead of waiting on somebody to greenlight your idea
Right.
or greenlight what you're trying to accomplish. Just fucking do it and then talk about it afterwards.
Right.
And that's what I did with the film. I wasn't even supposed to direct the film. I had co-wrote it with another person who was supposed to direct it, and they fell out literally a week and a half beforehand.
Oh wow.
And it was just kind of like dumped on me. And the cast and crew, they rallied with me. We had everything in place already, and so we went ahead and shot everything. But I was first time director. I was like just drowning. Like the first day the DP comes to me, he's like, do you have a shot list? I'm like, a shot list?
Oh,
What is
man.
a shot list?
Right.
Luckily the girl I was dating at the time, my ex-fiance, Hillary, man, she was a lifesaver. I would not have been able to get it done without her. She was always the organization to my chaos.
Right.
I always had like these big, like, let's do this, and she's like, well, let's try and do this. And I'm like, oh yeah. So luckily I had her with me.
She worked on Laughs, right? So
Yeah,
was,
she
like,
worked
in
on
production.
Laughs on Fox for a little while. Now she's producing for a bunch of different companies right now. She's working with Disney and
Okay.
and,
So she,
all
I mean,
kinds
she
of
knew
stuff
like the
right
production
now.
side of things. So that was.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I was brand new at that.
Right.
I was more the creative side, and Mike D, the guy who plays my brother in the film, he's another director, and so he had done a couple projects before that, so he kind of knew the ropes too, and so I was kind of leaning on him as well when I would get stuck in the day-to-day traps of having a shot list ready or having a schedule ready,
Right.
and getting future stuff lined up. It was such a small film. We shot 73 pages in 4 days.
Wow.
Which is fucking unheard of. But luckily, we shot it all in a farmhouse, pretty much. So it all takes place where the family is coming together. They're falling apart as they come together for Christmas. Everybody has a secret. It's it's a Christmas movie for adults. It's a bunch of weed and dick jokes surrounded around Christmas.
Right.
And so most of the film is in this house with this family.
Where'd you shoot it at?
We shot it back in Indiana.
Okay.
We actually used Hillary's parents' house.
Oh, wow.
We had it for 4 days there, and we had the cast and crew staying at a hotel about 10 miles away because it's literally out in the sticks. We shot it on a cattle farm out in Indiana. And if you watch the film, you can see on the walls, there's all the wallpaper and stuff is like cattle or like farm related and stuff. Like that's all legit, which added so much more texture to the film, and it was so great. But so we lucked out by having just kind of one big location, and so we were all kind of gathered there every day, and we really did turn into like a kind of little family, you know. It was a small set, and so when actors were off camera, they were making food for lunch for everybody. I had different, I had a makeup artist there who was working on stuff for the next scene. We had people setting up stuff for the next scenes that we were shooting. We were moving so fast, and then there was another actor on set who plays the cousin, and he's more of a stage actor. And so he was working with a couple other people, running scenes with them as I was directing other scenes in other rooms. So I would be upstairs in a bedroom shooting a scene, and he would be downstairs in the laundry room, like having a one-on-one session with an actor, like running through the next scene or whatever.
Yeah. That's great.
Tight. It was small and it was fast.
Yeah.
and I lucked out. We got we took it out to some film festivals and we got 16 awards and nominations for it, and it was fucking unheard of.
Yeah.
Really, really got lucky with that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, you just did it, man. That's why I tell people, man, like, like with comedy, with acting, it's like I think some people like the idea. They like to say they're an actor. Or like to say they're a comic,
right?
But it's like just go do it. Like
do it.
Like if you're an actor, for example, you can wait around for your agent that sucks to not send you out on auditions, or you could just fucking get some friends together, write something for yourself. It doesn't have to be a full feature. Like you could do shorts. You could put them up on you. I mean, there's so many ways now,
especially with Instagram and everything like that. Everybody's making outlets. Shorter and shorter things.
Yeah,
I mean, TikTok is fucking
Quibi.
15 seconds.
Quibi's about to launch. Are you familiar with Quibi?
No.
One of my friends is like the studio head, I guess is his title. It's about they have commercial. It's like it's going to be a streaming service, but like everything is 10 minutes or less.
Oh, okay.
And they have like that's where Reno 911 the revival is going to be on.
Okay,
and, like,
nice.
They have they're gonna they redid Punk'd and like
they
have like shows on there, but it's all like 10 minutes. Like there's just so many things that so many platforms that you can put your stuff on if you want
to.
Dude,
the platform, my fucking. Your gas station has a TV channel now.
Yeah,
like it's so dumb,
dude. You know what? The funniest thing, dude. I was this commercial years ago, and it was like a commercial. It's like a public service thing, but like it was on like local TV.
Yeah.
But it was also like the bus has a thing.
Yeah.
And so for like a minute, like I was taking the bus. Like this is like years ago. Like I didn't have a car. And I would take the bus just like around town, and like I'd be on the bus, and my commercials on the bus, dude. And I'm just like hiding in my face, like I hope these, because I played a gay dude in the commercial, and people would like recognize. And it's one of those things where it's like it's presented as like this is real, even though we're acting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so like people, especially at the gym, would come up to me and like, I saw your commercial, and I'm like, because I have a boyfriend in the commercial, and I'm like, no, I'm just an actor, and it's just like this whole, and it would happen all the time. And so it's just like funny. Like there's platforms everywhere.
It's everywhere now.
Yeah,
there's no excuse, and that's the thing is like you're going to be able to find a home for your work, even if it is YouTube. People are watching YouTube.
Andrew Schultz fucking making millions of dollars off of YouTube.
Yeah, man. Andrew Schultz is a great example of not waiting for networks, not waiting for that green light, creating your own content. I mean, it's there for the taking. Yeah. People are watching everything.
Yeah. Everyone's in their phones, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I think, who was telling me, I forget, that they were like, now they shoot specials, some platforms with, like, the frame of mind, like, so that when they're shooting it, they're like, okay, we need to shoot it this way because X amount of people are actually watching it on their phone.
Well, when I did the test run with my special, I sent it out to about 20 people, random people to watch and view, and I had it. You could stream it. I had it on a special link where you could stream it to anything, so to your TV, to your iPad, to your phone, to your computer, like whatever you. And I didn't preference anybody to watch it on a certain device. I wanted to see what they would watch it on.
Okay.
And I would say out of those 20 people, I think maybe 4 of them actually watched it on TV.
Oh, wow.
It was all iPads and phones and computers. Barely anybody watched it on their fucking TV.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Which is wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, so I want to lead into that because I think it's so cool. I know as comics, we don't always watch. Like, I don't know how you are. Like, don't watch a lot of comedy.
I watch everything.
Me too.
Yeah,
like
I watch it all. I just watched Tom Papa's.
Me too.
The other night. Yeah.
I just before I was a comic, I was a fan of comedy, and I'm still a fan. And so, like, when specials drop, I just want to watch just like as a fan.
Yeah.
But also to be like, okay, well, like.
I also want to be aware of what everybody's talking about, so you don't overstep.
Yeah, so no one can say I stole this. I mean, that's why I try to tell, at least my stuff is mostly just about, like, my family and my dad. And,
that's what I do, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Personal stuff.
Because then if someone can, I'm like, your dad didn't sell meth and go to fucking prison, too. Like, so
yeah.
You're lying.
Yeah.
So I watch them, and then when I saw you drop, I was like, oh, perfect. And, like, I love the fact that you did it, you put it out there. But now, like we were talking beforehand, like it's gotten like over 1 million views.
Yeah, the feedback and the support and the love has just been unreal. When I was doing the hour live, when I was working on it, that big ending, the big closer. For people who haven't seen it, there's
don't ruin it.
Yeah, the last like 15 or 20 minutes is all about losing my parents and going to therapy for the first time and all that stuff. I did that closer, I would say 8 times before I recorded it.
Oh, wow.
And it's a big chunk. It's 15 minutes, 20 minutes, something like that. The first time I did it out loud was back in Indiana, and it was at my home club, Morty's there, which is now closed. But, that's where I created a lot of stuff and got really comfortable there and felt the most comfortable. And I did it there for the first time out loud on stage. And I was working with my buddy, Rich Reagans, and he came off and he goes, man, that was like watching somebody land a goddamn plane. And I was like, oh, it really meant a lot to me. I really looked up to Rich, and I knew there was something there, you know. And then he's like, man, how long you been working on that? I was like, oh, it was my first time out loud. And he's like, what the fuck? And then that night, people were coming up to me and sharing their stories with me afterwards about losing, they just lost their brother, they just lost their husband, they just lost their father, their sister, this and that, and it went from killing to connecting, and it was a whole new level of audience interaction that I had never experienced before. And but it was hard to do. It was hard to talk about. Yeah. Because it is very raw and it's very vulnerable and all those things. And even when I the week before I was the special, I was running that hour night after night. I was in at the Skyline there in a great club.
Milwaukee, or it's in Wisconsin.
Yeah, right? Wisconsin. Yeah.
Appleton.
Beautiful club. Always, I mean, the crowds there are just fire. Like, it's just a great room. And so I was running the hour, and I had to run that closer every night. And it felt dirty. You know what I mean? Like, it just felt. It felt like a circus trick. Because it is so raw and it is so honest and it is opening up on a level that was connecting with people who had lost people, and it felt so fucking weird and dirty. And then I did the special, and like I said, I only did it a handful of times before that, and that was the same thing that I kept getting was people coming up and sharing their stories afterwards, and especially that weekend before. And then the special came out, and now people from all over the country have been reaching out to me via Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, and they're sharing their stories of me now that they've seen the special, which is a surreal fucking thing.
Yeah.
And it's like I've almost become like the pseudo therapist kind
Yeah.
of, because nobody's talking about that. Nobody's talking about death. Nobody's talking about that grieving process. Nobody's talking about, especially as a dude, going to therapy and being raised in the Midwest, and like I wasn't allowed to be chilly. You know what I mean? And like now I'm allowed to be openly depressed on Twitter. Like it's such a weird contrast, and it feels so fucking good to be able to help and to be able to give back a little now that I have been through it and I'm on the other side of things, and I can say that like it gets better.
Yeah.
And that was the message that I was trying to spread the whole time, was like, yeah, it sucks now, and it might feel like you're fucking drowning, and it might feel overwhelming. It gets better.
Yeah.
But you have to do the work. And that's been the message, and that's still my message to people when they reach out. It's like, it sucks. It really fucking sucks.
Yeah.
It gets better. And so, yeah, having that reach now with the special is just, it's fucking unreal.
Yeah, I remember because your parents they passed away like short period of time.
Yeah, within a year.
Yeah,
Unexpectedly.
Right. And that's I remember. Did your mom pass away first?
Stepfather first.
Okay, because my mom also passed away, and I remember you like writing about it and then sharing it with it. You know, on social media, and like when my mom passed away, it was pre-social media and like there was no way to get all that stuff out, and I didn't go to therapy and whatever.
Yeah.
And honestly, I always tell people it wasn't until I started doing stand-up and then going to therapy, and then it's like I mean, my mom's been passed away for 20 years now.
Yeah.
And it gets it gets better, but like you still miss your parents.
Yeah, my buddy had heard this quote from somebody on NPR was talking about grief one morning, and he had called me after he heard the interview, and he said he heard something that I think might help you. And this guy lost his parents as well, and he said during the interview, he goes, it never hurts less,
right?
It just hurts less often.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I was like, yeah that's it, because it still really fucking hurts sometimes.
Yeah, for sure.
And it still creeps up, and it hurts just like the day that you get that fucking phone call. It hurts just like that.
Yeah.
But it's not constant, and it's not every day, and it's not even every other day, and stuff like that. And it gets more spread out as time goes on. And but I thought that was a beautiful quote. The one I latched onto when Wayne died, and I even put it in his eulogy, was like, death ends a life, it does not end a relationship, which I thought was beautiful and just perfectly put.
Yeah.
It just because they're not there doesn't change what they mean to you, what they, and how you carry them with you is also important. I talk a lot about that, about, it's okay to carry them with you, but you have to leave that weight behind. Because that's what's going to fucking drag you down. That's what you're going to drown holding on to, is that weight of loss. And once you can let go of some of that, you can still carry that memory with you and their presence. And I still talk to my mother. I have a picture of her in my kitchen, and she's in her kitchen, and because that's where she always was, and she's always cooking and stuff like that. And so whenever I'm in my kitchen, I'm making stuff. I'm talking to my mom. Or when I'm paying bills, I'm bitching to my mom, like, I can't believe I gotta pay this. I'm talking to her. I come home from a really good weekend or a set, and I tell him, like, well, I'm home from Cleveland, Ma. Like, that was fucking, I'm always talking to her.
Yeah.
It doesn't change the relationship I had with her, but I'm no longer carrying that weight of, oh my God, I missed you so much, and oh my God, this hurt, and oh my God, that initial, like, fuck, what are we gonna do? This is what we're doing. We're moving on, because this is what we have to do.
Right.
And I think that's so important to tell people.
Now, did you go to therapy before for anything?
No, I never
Okay.
went, and
Yeah.
I actually I feel like such a fucking fraud because I barely went to therapy there for a while. It took I talk about it in the special too. I had such a hard time finding a therapist.
Right.
I went through my health insurance. They hooked me up with 4 different people,
Oh wow.
and every one of them was bad. And even when I first signed up for therapy, they're like, "You can see somebody once a month," and I was like, I
Yeah.
think I'm gonna fucking
Got-
drown in my bathtub. Like,
Right.
I need to talk to somebody more than once a month." And even when I tracked down an outside therapist that took my insurance, it was still, they couldn't line it up. The therapist was like, "Just tell your insurance that you're gonna come see me, and they'll take care of it." I said, "Okay." So I went to my insurance. They're like, "Well, tell her to send over this," and we'll. So I went to her, and she's like, "Well, that's not how you have to tell them." I'm like, "Okay." So I went back to them, and they're like, "Yeah, but she's not in." I'm like, "Well, she says she takes it."
Right.
It was a clusterfuck, dude. And in the special, I even talk about it. It took them 2.5 months before they even paired me up with somebody.
Oh my God.
And that was that. I talk about this. I'm like,
Yeah.
that was that lady's last day there. And I'm just like, what the fuck is happening?
Right.
So I went maybe a handful of times, and then I stopped going.
Yeah.
And in a city like LA, it is just so hard to find the help that people need.
Yeah.
It is a broken system. It is a broken fucking system. And
I remember I didn't do any kind, like, I don't drink, and
I don't drink either. Yeah.
up until a couple of years ago, I also didn't even do marijuana. I do edibles now. I graduated. I bypassed smoking, and I just eat it because I still don't like smoke.
Right.
But like at the time, because this is like 8 years ago now, almost. I was like, I think I need, like, I have an imbalance. I feel like this is not like, I think I need some kind of drugs, and they wouldn't give me any. And they're like, no, like, that's just, they're like, we can't do that. Like, and they're like, you have to go through this process before we're able to and I'm like, fuck. But it was probably a good thing that it didn't. But yeah, I got lucky because it was like, I still worked for a company at the time, and they gave me, like, I want to say like 4 or 5, like it was part of my insurance or whatever for free. And then the therapist was like, well, your insurance only covers this. So she had me do she did sliding scale with me.
Oh, okay,
which
great.
saved me like tremendously, because I could show her the pay stubs and be like, look, and she's like, okay, it was like she only charged me like $50.
Yeah, that's great.
And it was like, it was perfect.
That's what I was getting through my insurance, was like $65, which was
just
great.
still great, yeah.
Yeah, because if you try to go to therapy without any of that, it's hundreds of dollars. Which is still worth it, but it's hard to fucking do, and a lot of people don't have that, which is another issue of the brokenness of the system.
Yeah, there's some free places, but you have to do your work, and like if you're, heaven forbid, like if you're on the skirts,
and you know what I found the most helpful was, I dove headfirst into like self-help books and self-care, and really, I guess again, I didn't even realize this till now, but like, do it myself. I didn't put that together now, but yeah, that's what really ended up saving me was actually doing the work that I had to do myself.
Yeah. What was the best book that you read?
Oh man,
you don't have to call it self-help, but like a book that like.
I'm a big fan of Alan Watts. I love listening to Alan. He's a British philosopher. He's dead now for many years, but there's a bunch of free videos on YouTube. Just type in Alan Watts on YouTube, and you'll have content for days. He's phenomenal to listen to. He's really great. He's not really a self-help guy. He's more of a philosopher, but it's nice to. Because I don't have religion, I don't have any of that. So he's a nice guy that you listen to and you go, oh, this guy fucking gets it.
Right.
There was that book, I can see it in my head. It's bright orange, has the word fuck in the title.
Oh, Unfuck Yourself.
No, there's another one.
The Subtle Art of Not
Giving a Fuck. Was entertaining and great.
Yeah, it was fine.
And it was a lot of stuff that like I already kind of knew, but it was, again, refreshing to hear somebody else say it, and you go, oh yeah, this guy fucking gets it. Yeah. There was a lot of stuff in there that talks about comparison, which is huge for me. I'm a huge, I grew up a fat kid and all that stuff, and back in Ohio, and so. Nobody wanted to fucking hang out or fuck me or any of that stuff. And so I still have these self-image, problems. And comparison is a huge problem for me. And that book talks a lot about it doesn't matter what everybody else is doing. Worry about what you're doing, how you're getting better. And that's kind of my motto now is like, the only person you can compare yourself to is yourself. Are you better? Are you stronger? Are you smarter? Are you healthier than you were last year, 2 days ago, 10 years ago? You know, it's what are you doing to work on yourself? And, you know, a lot of these questions that we ask ourselves, we have to ask ourselves the really hard questions, because usually that's the right answer, is the one you don't want to fucking hear. And I just talked about this on my podcast a few days ago. I talk about self-care a lot and stuff, and it's this idea of when you're scrolling through people's feeds and you get that envy or that jealousy, you're like, well, how the fuck did they get that?
Of course.
And then you have to ask yourself the hard question. Well, did I do X, Y, and Z? No. Well, did I try blah, blah, blah? No. Well, guess what? They fucking did. They're putting in the work. They did X, Y, and Z. They did ABC. They did da-da-da. They've been working. You haven't. And a lot of times we don't want to hear that. And hearing it from ourselves is the best place to hear it from, because even when you hear it from a friend, they're like, yeah, but you're not doing this. You're like, yeah, fuck that guy.
Right.
You have to look yourself in the eye and go, are you really working on that? Are you working as hard as you can? Probably not.
I love it.
Probably not. So that's what I'm really working on myself nowadays is just holding myself accountable to the stuff I really want to do and asking myself those hard questions.
I like it, man.
Yeah.
I feel like too, though, like because I think we've all been there where like you see something, you're like, I might be funnier than this person.
Right.
Why are they get? But at the same time, it's like now, like we were talking about, like there's just so many other outlets that like someone getting something doesn't mean you don't get something. And
that's the other thing you have to remind, especially in comedy. I don't know how it works with other things, but you know, we always think just because that person got, you know, let's say Conan, for example. Well, they got Conan. Okay.
Yeah. Who cares?
There's 52 other slots open, buddy.
Yeah.
You know?
Like there's so many places, and it's like
so and there's
timing.
5 other shows that you could do, and there's 52 slots on those open. So now we're talking. Let's just say we're talking about 1,000 slots, and you're mad because this one person got 1 slot. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Work harder.
Just keep doing you. That's all it is.
Yeah.
And
Work for those other slots.
So I appreciate that you brought this up, because that's kind of what I want to lead into. Because I was noticing, you said you used to be a fat kid.
Yeah.
But you're not a fat kid anymore.
No, I've trimmed down a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. And I remember, but like as someone who's like into fitness and stuff, I remember also watching your special and being like Mike got kind of jacked for this. And I don't know if you made a change like over the last couple of years, or I know you said that your girl works. She's a nutritionist. I don't know if that has anything to do with it.
I'm a hiker and a biker, man.
Okay.
Especially living out here, and when I was living here in Hollywood, I was biking everywhere. I have a little street racer that I love.
Like a bicycle.
Yeah, like a little vintage. I used to have a oh god, what did I have? Oh man,
I don't know bikes, so you can literally say anything. I'd be like, oh, cool,
it was an old vintage model. I found it while I was touring, and it was handmade in Chicago back in the '70s, and I fucking loved it. And it was incredible. And then it got stolen. First week I moved out here.
Are you serious?
And then I bought another bike, and it got stolen.
People fucking steal shit.
And I bought another bike, and it got stolen.
No shit.
So I'm on my 4th bike.
3 bikes stolen.
Yeah, dog.
Where are you leaving your bikes?
Dude, I have bike logs.
No
shit.
Up.
It's insane. Anyways,
wow.
I'm on my 4th bike now, and just a little racer, and I love riding it. I hate running.
Okay.
So, and I'm not a big gym rat. I would like to think of myself as like getting motivated and do all that. I barely ever do.
Yeah.
But I like to bike.
Okay. It's activity.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you like
I hike all the time.
Okay.
Doing that kind of stuff.
Like when you're gone, or here, or both?
Here, definitely.
Okay.
When I'm on the road, I'm a piece of shit when I'm on the road. I don't fucking.
No, we're gonna edit that part out. He's lying. When he's on the road, he's working out too.
Yeah, I don't do any of that. I always pack stuff like I'm going to. It's
Okay.
always so dumb. I'm always like, I'll bring my shoes and my
Yeah.
stuff, and then I just sit in the hotel and I fucking eat
I can't do it.
candy bars. And
I gotta get up, dude. Whenever I mean, that's like my thing though. Like whenever, like I know when I'm going somewhere. Like okay, I'm gonna be in Oklahoma City, so I know where that gym is. I'm gonna be in Denver. I know where that gym is. Like and
I wish I could say that.
This is a new club.
See, I'm going to Oklahoma City. There's a donut shop there on 3rd Street. I love. Like even now, I've been thinking. I'm like, oh man, I'm here in town. I should go. That Kettle Glazed is right over on Franklin.
I don't even know what that is.
Oh, bro. Best donuts I've ever had in my life.
What's it?
It's called Kettle Glazed.
That's the name of the place.
Yeah.
Kettle Glazed Donuts.
And they have vegan options and all that stuff if you're into that.
Whatever.
But best donut I've ever had.
Really?
You get the maple bacon.
Okay.
It's incredible.
Franklin and what? Like by UCB somewhere?
Right down the street from UCB.
Okay.
Like 2 blocks down. It's right by the
Scientology Center?
yeah. It's right by the entrance to the 101. It's literally like
okay.
right there.
Got it. Oh, like by the Hollywood Tower.
Yeah, right across the street.
Got it.
It's called Kettle Glazed.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm probably not gonna go, but I'll take your word for it.
Yeah,
I don't like donuts. I don't like sugar actually.
Yeah, I'm gonna slip in I'm gonna brag. I'm gonna do a bragging celebrity story.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
I'm working on set on.
We love those here.
I'm working on set on I'm Dying Up Here on Showtime, the 2nd season, and I'm working with Brad Garrett, and Brad and I are good friends, and I tell Brad, we're coming back from hair and makeup in the morning there, like 7 a.m. And I tell Brad, I go, hey, because we're shooting right here in Hollywood,
right?
And I go, hey, there's a great donut place like 3 blocks from here called Kettle Glazed, and I go, if you're ever in the area, you're shooting or whatever, because they shot in that area a lot for that show. I go, when you're over here, pop on over there, man. It's great. It's delicious. He's like, what's it called? I was like, Kettle Glazed. He's like, oh, okay. So we go back to the trailers, and we're getting ready to shoot and all that. And there's a knock on my door 10 minutes later after we get back. And there's a woman holding 3 giant boxes of Kettle Glazed donuts.
Wow.
And she goes, Brad wanted me to bring these to you first. You can have your pick, and then I'm going to give them to everybody else. And I was like,
wow.
Okay, this dude bought donuts for the entire cast and crew of I'm Dying Up Here on Showtime.
That's awesome.
Just from me being like, hey, man, go check out that donut shop.
Right.
Brad is just like one of those guys.
I love those stories.
Yeah, he's one of these guys that has made it and continues to give back whenever and however he can, whether it's buying donuts or he has a great foundation called Maximum Hope, which he provides medical care for new parents that have a newborn child that has like some deformities or is not right, and but tumors, something like that happens, and they can't afford it or whatever. He steps in with his foundation and takes care of it. And
like it.
So even on as little as buying donuts or helping families, like that guy is constantly giving back. It's incredible.
I like when people do it and but you don't know about it.
Yeah.
Because then it's coming from a place of sincerity.
Yeah.
Then not like, oh, here I am. I talked about this on stage last night, but like when people they feed the homeless and they have a picture, it's you're still a piece of shit, dude. Like, if you really want to, do you follow baseball at all?
Yeah.
So the Dodgers just got this guy Mookie Betts from the Red Sox.
Yeah.
Like one of the best players in baseball. We're very excited. Big Dodger fan. But there was a story that came out, like they played in the World Series a couple years ago, and after one of the games, he got like the spread, like Major League in the clubhouse, they've just got every food that you can want, like whatever they want, it's there. And he took it because he had seen a homeless family, and he went and he was like, oh, we have some food, and he was giving it to people, and like he started passing out the leftover food the night of the World Series after they just won a game. Maybe they lost, I don't even know.
Right.
But like he was just doing it. And then somebody like photographed it and like put it in the paper, and he got mad because he was just doing it because like it was from here in his heart. And it's so like I love hearing about, because we always hear all the bad shit that celebrities do.
Yeah, you always hear the negative gossip and all that stuff. Very rarely do you get to hear the good shit.
Yeah, I like that. I like hearing like somebody like someone took somebody on the road with them, and like obviously as features we're not getting a ton of money, like we're getting some, but like for me it's just I'm doing what I love, so I don't care. You get paid $4, but then it's like, oh, so-and-so took me on the road and I got paid this, but then he gave me an extra, few hundred, and I'm like, but you don't hear about that unless like you're talking amongst friends, you know what I mean? Like, just shit like that. Like,
there's a lot of guys too. The bigger name guys will will have their features, have their openers, sell their merch afterwards, and then. I've heard stories of them giving them $200 or $300 out of that merch stuff, and just being like, "Hey, thanks for selling those T-shirts or those CDs."
Right
there you go, man. And it's like, fuck.
But that makes your day.
Yeah,
that's
at that level, half your fucking pay is a feature. You know what I mean? If you make an extra $300. Dude, that's a plane ticket.
Exactly.
It's
everything.
Whatever, man.
It's not like I loved when Bert Kreischer a few months ago
those tips.
When he would post them on Twitter clubs just pay your openers an extra $50 every night or whatever.
Yeah.
It's nothing to you guys. You're making the drinks. You're making this and
well, he was doing a thing too with the. I thought that's what you're talking about was the wait staff stuff. So he would do a thing where he would take all of the tips and then match it for the night, and then he would make an announcement to the crowd and have everybody chip in extra.
Oh wow!
And then they would raffle it off to one of the wait staff members, and he would bring them up, and they would get over $1,000.
Yeah, I mean that's life changing.
Yeah, and he's like, all right, is Vanessa here? You pull out a name at random, and that waitress would come on stage. He's like, it's all yours, and the crowd would go crazy. She would go crazy. He would match it and stuff like that. And I mean, it was You hear stories like that, and you're like, that's the way it fucking should be.
I worked Zanies for the first time in Chicago.
Yeah.
A couple months ago, and I was just super excited to be there and whatever. And there's a little mix up with the condo and it not being available and being available. I know he didn't do this for me to talk about it, and I haven't talked about it. This is the first time. But I was opening for Helen Hong.
Yeah, okay, great. Yeah, I love Helen.
Yeah, I mean, I love her too.
She's great.
And he thought that she had the condo, and then she thought, or I don't know, but neither one of us were staying in the condo.
Yeah.
He put her in a hotel, though, because he thought I was staying in the condo, and then when I got there, because he told me, the condo wasn't available.
Right.
And when I got there, he's like, how's the condo? I was like, I don't know. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I'm not staying in there. He's like, wait, if you're not staying there, who's? I was like, I don't know. You told me that it wasn't available.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I'm so sorry. And so but I didn't think anything of it because at this point, a lot of places don't put us up as features.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I already expect to not get put up, and if I do, it's just a bonus.
Yeah.
And so I already had the hotel and everything, and it was fine. And then the last day, I got my check. And then the girl's like, oh, I have 2 checks for you. And I was like, oh, that's weird. And then when I opened it, he reimbursed me for the hotel.
Man, that's great.
And I was just so overcome with emotion because he didn't have to do that.
Right.
And I would have been fine with it. I would have still had a great time. But it was just it was an extra few $100. And it was it made the whole trip was already great, but it just made it that much better.
That's great
for them doing that. And he didn't have to.
Hear those stories. You hear so many bad stories.
Yeah. You hear oh, we don't have the money, or cash your check in 2 weeks. You're like, what?
Yeah.
I need to cash the check now. What are you talking about? I need cash. Fuck the check. I don't even have a bank account. I mean, I do, but some people don't.
Yeah.
But you travel a lot. And you obviously take care of yourself. So, what are some things that you do? Because we're about the same age, I feel like.
Yeah. I'll be 37 and.
Okay, so you're a little bit young. You're a little bit younger than in a week.
Yeah.
When's your birthday?
February 22nd.
Okay. Yeah. Happy birthday. Early.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just try to stay active.
Yeah.
And when I was growing up, how I lost all that weight when I was a kid was it was all portion control. And my mother was one of these mothers that would, you didn't have one dessert, you had multiple. It wasn't like have a piece of pie. I was like, well, what kind of pie and what kind of cake are you gonna have? Right. She was always just and she would make iced tea and Kool-Aid with 6 packs of sugar in it and all that stuff. So I grew up in that environment, and then when I got old enough to, want to fuck and do something like that, it was like, oh, I'm gonna have to change everything. Right. And so I started slowly. I was running at the time. I lived out in the country, and we lived on 1.5 acres of land. So I was literally running this 1.5 acres with bricks in my fucking hands.
Really?
And then portion control and all that stuff. Okay. And then
so not rocket science, just
being smarter about it. And and it wasn't life changing or anything. I didn't have to change, I didn't have to rearrange my whole I eat fast food all the time. Especially when I'm on the road. I'm guilty of that.
We're gonna edit that part out too.
As soon as I land in a city, I'm like, take me to a McDonald's. But I also when I do have those decisions, I try to make the healthier choice too. So when I am stuck on the road in a city that I don't know or don't whatever, I'm not eating McDonald's every fucking day or whatever. I'm going to Subway and I'm getting a turkey sub, or Jimmy John's and getting, turkey and avocado and stuff like that. Like, I'm making those decisions.
Yeah.
Even when I'm at the club, I'm getting salads and stuff like that. So it's not, I'm not just like, yeah.
I mean, I could tell because you, like I said, when I watched your special, I was like, oh, he got into shape for this. Like, I don't know. Were you working out like knowing that you were going to record it, or just is this how you walk around with like?
No,
all the
and
time?
and especially for Bethlehem, I dropped a ton of weight for Bethlehem because I knew, I was going to star in that and this and that and
Camera adds 10 pounds.
Yeah,
You're welcome.
it was. It really, it's crazy. You see,
really
you have
is.
this image of what you look like, and then you see yourself on TV or in a movie, and you're like, "What the fuck is that?"
Exactly. That's what I tell people all the time.
It's terrible.
Like, you need to eat more. I'm like, no, you don't understand. Because when I look at myself, I look at myself and I'm like, all right, you look fucking good, dude. But like sometimes,
and then you see a picture and you're like, "The fuck?"
Yeah, like what happened? That was how I realized. So, for like, I played baseball my whole life. Yeah. And then, like, once I was done, like, playing, like, really competitive ball, I was working at, you know, Dave & Buster's, right?
Yeah.
So I was working at the one at the Ontario Mills Mall.
Okay, yeah.
And, like, I'm in my early 20s. You're at the point when when you don't pay attention. You just eat. Yeah. You just eat what's good, and that's it. And, like, maybe I work out a little bit, but, like, I gained a lot of weight.
Dude, I think about a milkshake now at my age, and I put on 6 pounds. I'm like, man, I would love
right.
Even fantasizing about food, I'm like, I feel these pants don't fit anymore. It's fucking terrible. You have to work at it, but what goes hand in hand with that is like what I was talking about earlier. That idea of self-care and self-image is so important, and I think what we do a lot of times is that comparison, right? We're always chasing this idea. You look on social media and you go, and you see somebody on the beach or whatever, and you go, man, I want that, or I want that body, or I want that life. And you can't compare the outside of others to the inside of you, which I think is huge.
That's deep.
Because however they look or whatever they have shouldn't affect the way you feel about yourself or the way you think about yourself, which is not easy. And that's the thing, like, none of the stuff that I talk about is fucking easy. It's a struggle. I struggle with it.
Yeah.
But it takes work. It's a daily fucking activity of telling yourself that, no, I feel great. I look fine. That gratitude comes in so much about this idea of like, well, maybe I'm not on the beach right now with this 6-pack and all this stuff, but what do I do have?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not driving a fucking Ferrari or Lamborghini right now, like these 22-year-olds out here in LA.
Right.
When you see them pull up at a stoplight, you're like, what are you, 14?
Yeah, like, what is
like, how the fuck? It doesn't matter. Like, what do I do have? And you have to look at like what you have, what you have access to, your health, all of that stuff. And that will keep you more than humble. It should keep you fulfilled.
Yeah.
And if it ain't, then you got some real fucking work to do.
Yeah. I find that, like, for me and probably for you, like, the fact that we get to do what we love is huge.
Oh, that's huge.
That's why, like, I can go somewhere and work a weekend and maybe hopefully come out in the black, but maybe come out in the red. But it's like, I don't care because they're paying me to do what I love. Right. So, like, that's the gratitude right there. Like you could, like I said, I was telling you, I got $10 last night for a show, and I was like, fuck yeah, I got paid to do jokes in LA. Like, are you serious?
Yeah.
Usually, like, I got to go to the Bay Area this weekend, and it's like usually you got to get out of LA to make like any kind of money doing shows. Paul actually runs a few shows, and he's been really good about helping people out with. Shout out to Paul, Paul Antonio. Paying people because like it's like, yeah, we get it, dude. Like, just to get some kind of reimbursement for our work, but like I love that, and so but like a lot of people don't have that thing they love. They go to jobs they hate every day. And
well,
so
I talk about that a lot too.
Yeah.
And the idea of self-care and all that is the idea that we are in control of so much more than we think. And this idea of getting trapped in a job that you don't like, in a relationship you're not happy in any situation, life is forever changing. Life is about adapting. It's not about getting comfortable. It's about adapting. It's about challenging yourself. So if you are stuck in a job that you fucking hate and you want to kill yourself every day, then get a different fucking job. And a lot of people get stuck in this mindset of like, well, I can't do this because of that. Stop making those excuses.
You could.
And going back to doing it yourself with all the other stuff.
Yep.
I had a script. I had all this stuff. I could have easily been like, yeah, but nobody's gonna finance it. Nobody's gonna buy it. No, I don't care.
Yeah.
Make the fucking thing.
Like
do it.
You shot your special. Not having it's not like they asked you.
Nobody in mind. Yeah, nobody was asking for it. Nobody wanted it.
Right.
But even now, this is a funny story that I shared on Facebook a few weeks ago. Is one of the companies that I reached out to when I was shopping it over the summer. They just got back to me a few weeks ago, and they were like, "We're gonna pass." And they're like, "It's too one-man showy for us," and I'm like, that's fine.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna be okay.
Yeah.
It's that idea of stop making these excuses for yourself. Stop talking yourself out of this, and just do it.
Yep.
And that happens a lot of times in relationships. You're like, well, I can't leave because of this, and this. Buy a new couch, homie. It ain't worth it.
Yeah.
Get a new thing. It doesn't matter. Whatever's keeping you there. And keeping you in that unhappy situation is not, trust me, it's not fucking worth what's on the other side.
Right. You
You have to get rid of that stuff. And like we talked about earlier, usually that right answer is the hardest one, and it's the one you don't want to fucking hear. And it ain't going to be easy. Change never is. But once you're on the other side of it, you're going to be so much better off, and you're going to be like, why didn't I do that sooner?
Yep.
I think about that all the time with the projects that I've done. I'm like, why didn't I fucking do that sooner? It's just, that's what you're left with. You're not left with regret. You're not ever thinking like, man, I miss that guy that used to hit me. You're like, no, you fucking, no. You're never gonna think that.
Or girl,
or whatever the fuck. Like, you're never gonna think that. You're never gonna think, man, I wish I was still working in that factory. No, you're not. You're gonna be so much happier, so much better off, and you're gonna be. And it's not easy. It's not easy, but it gets better, and you're gonna get through it.
Yeah, I like it, man.
Yeah.
You're very inspiring. We've all been through shit. Some people have been through more shit than others.
Oh, yeah.
And you can be a victim, and it's like, dwell on it and everything. Or you can just fucking be like, all right, this is making me stronger. I gotta move forward. I gotta, I gotta take initiative. I gotta take responsibility. Like, I gotta take all these things, and I don't have to depend on it. Somebody like a gatekeeper or this. Like, I'm just gonna do it myself. If I have help, great. But like, just fucking do it.
Yeah, and that's and I talk about that in the special too a little bit, where it's like this idea of when tragedy does happen or bad shit goes down, everybody's so quick to tell you to get right back up, and I think that's wrong.
Yeah.
I think sometimes you have to lay in your mess and really look at the damage that's been done. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
I don't think enough people talk about that. It's okay to not be okay for a little while.
Yeah.
I'm not saying wallow in it for years and all that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying lay in it, get it all fucking out of your system, really look at the damage, and then work on yourself, and then try and get back up. I think in society, we judge people wrong. We judge people on how fast they get back up. I think we should judge people on who they are after they have the strength to get back up, and who they become after the tragedy. I think that's when you should have judgment on somebody, and it's just nobody's talking about that. Nobody's going to tell you that, and I think it's more people need to hear that.
I like it, man. Thank you, man. Michael, do you have anybody anywhere? We have a worldwide audience.
Yes.
So if you're gonna
I'll be in Vegas.
Yeah.
Okay.
There
Then
you
get
go.
more worldwide than that.
I got peeps in Vegas.
I'll be back in Vegas at Brad Garrett's Comedy Club there at the MGM Grand the first week of March, and then this fall I'm kicking off my Good Grief comedy tour, and I'm doing 15 cities and ending up at the Soho Theater in London. So it's super fun.
That's cool.
And you can watch my special on Amazon. It's on Amazon Prime as well. It's called Laugh After Death, and you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and everything is at Malone Comedy.
At Malone Comedy.
Yep.
Thank you so much. If you guys are listening to this, what's today?
It's Wednesday, maybe? Thursday?
I'm like trying to think when they hear that. I always record it like a week ahead of time.
Right.
If you're listening to this, I'm going to be headlining. I'm going to be in San Antonio, February 28th and 29th. Jokesters. Jokesters 22 is what it's called in San Antonio. Tell your friends. It would be awesome. For the rest of my dates, check out my website, www.petersers.com. We're about to kick off this League of My Own tour starting in March. And I'm going to be fucking everywhere once that starts. So thanks for listening, you guys. As always, if you want to reach out, whatever, send me a message. Tell me that you liked it. Like I said, review, whatever. But thank you so much for listening. This has been The Camera Adds 10 Pounds. Have a great day. Bye, guys.